Like I said, the first game is going to be Your Goose is Cooked versus Evris Pirates, and let's go ahead and jump into that first match for you, and let's jump right into the action. We're going to start off here with the builds. I'm going to go over the red team builds here first. It looks like first up we do have Knight Jr. Knight Jr. is going to be running Shout Bow today. He's got his Rune of the Soldier and Celestial Amulet here. He's going to be running the trait setup of 0-0-4-6-4 with that triple shouts and the war banner there. Next up we do have Easy. Easy's going to be on the Panic Strike Thief for us here today. He's going to be running Dagger Pistol as well as Short Bow with the Vamp Runes and the Berserker Amulet here with the trait setup of 6-0-2-0-6. Next up, we do have Honey. Honey is going to be running Staff Ellie as usual. Typically does play Staff Ellie for this team here. Going to be running Rune of the Pirate and Celestial Amulet, running the trait setup of 0-0-2-6-6 there. Next up, we do have Kava here. Kava is going to be running Celestial Rifle NG with the Vamp Runes as well, with the trait setup of 6-0-0-4-4, running the triple kit there, actually, with the Elixir Gun. And last but not least here, we have Aldemiri. This is going to be Carsave here. Carsave running that Shout Bow as well, with the Rune of the Soldier, Celestial Amulet, and the trait setup actually being 1-0-4-6-3, opting for that Reckless Dodge there, probably running the same triple shout and war banner.
Let's take a look at Evris Pirates over on the blue team over here. We've got Talik going to be playing the Thief for this team. He's playing with Dagger, Short Bow, with Runes of the Traveler and Berserker Amulet. Now, Dagger is something I don't think we've ever seen in a top-tier match for the most part, so I'm interested to see how he's going to be able to play out with this weapon set. He's going to be running 2-0-0-6-6 as his traits. It's a little bit of an interesting, trait setup going with the Dagger. It's something we might see with the a couple different numbers in the traits and acrobatics if you were to run Sword Dagger, but running Dagger, I can't say I've seen this, at least not in quite some time, so we'll see how this plays out for him. He's also running Dagger Storm, Blinding Powder, and Infiltrator Signet. Now, we see Blinding Powder quite often, but it's usually interchangeable with Infiltrator Signet. So to see both of them being used and not Shadow Refuge, perhaps he's, just doesn't want the other team to see what he's actually going to be running, or possibly just running these without Shadow Refuge. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work out for him, as that's, quite the interesting setup for this team. But he is going to be the oddball, trait-wise and weapon-wise for this team. Most of the other players, taking a look at Unstoppable, they are playing meta builds for the most part. Unstoppable, he will be playing the Medigard for this team with the Scepter Focus Hammer, running with Runes of the Pack, Berserker Amulet, running 0-1-6-1-6. Nothing too special about his utilities, those are pretty standard. Next up we got Evris. He is going to be playing the Shout Bow for this team with the Sword Warhorn Longbow, running with Soldier Runes, Celestial Amulet, running 0-0-4-6-4. Sync is up next, playing one of two engineers for this team. He's going to be playing the Selly Rifle with the Vamp Runes, running 6-0-0-6-2. Now this is a little bit of interesting trait setup. Most engineers that we see will run 4 in tools, but I can say on the EU side of things, I've seen a lot of these engineers running 6 in Alchemy, so that's definitely not something to be astonished that they're running. And finally, we've got Big. He's going to be the second engineer for this team. He is running with the Selly Rifle as well, running with Vamp Runes, running 6-0-0-4-4. Pretty standard team comp coming out from this blue team, but Talik really being the oddball there, running some interesting stuff that I can't say we've seen in top tier play.
Yeah, I have to agree. So we're going to have both teams readying up in just a moment's time here, and once they do, we'll be underway with the first streamed match, the first top 8 match of the EU Tournament of Legends 3 here. And I just want to remind everyone that this has been going on for a very long period of time throughout today. I mean, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning over here on the East Coast, and we've been going through, and it's been coming up on 10 hours here. So this has been a long time coming so far, but I'm glad we're finally here. These are going to be some great matches for us today, and it looks like we have all of blue team ready to go. Red team going to go ahead and get everybody going, and we do have a the scoreboard. We know that the colors are wrong. We'll get that fixed in just a moment's time. It doesn't really matter right now because there's no scores, obviously. Oh, it actually is fixed. Okay, it is fixed. We fixed it, so that's good. All right, everything is good to go, and we're going to be starting the game in just a moment's time. Why don't we take a look at the splits?
Yeah, going out from both sides here. We do have red team. They're going to be crossing a couple through the beach. Blue team not going to be sending anybody. 3 people for this Your Goose is Cooked team making their way in stealth. We'll have to see. Actually, 2 only going to commit to that point. The Thief probably trying to catch someone off guard. What do we got here, Hurix?
looking over here at this hinge fight right now, we have a pretty big fight happening up here. We actually see one of the members of the red team, Kava, actually in a little bit of a skirmish here. Easy taken on, it looks like Talik there, the thief from the blue team. As on the node, we have Big Bada Boom versus Aldemiri, who is car saved once again. So on this node, it looks, we pretty much can consider this NG to gain control of this node over time with all the knockbacks, with the Connie pressure, that NG should win that fight. However, with the +1 that happened there from Kava, the pressure is being put on all over Big Bada Boom here, who is getting pretty low. He does have his healing turret to come out once he gets out of that shield, and he does heal up there, and it looks like Aldemiri is not looking too good right now. He's in 20% health and dropping quickly here, and he goes into down state right now, and it looks like blue team is going for the stop, so that's the first kill of the game here as Carsave gets taken out by Evris Pirates.
Yeah, blue team really trying to make a hold on to this henge node. In the meantime, we did see red team get the early lead, capping that mine point, as we saw Honey able to hold off a 1v2 at the midpoint. He did get support from the warrior, the engineer from the blue team, pushed over to the mine point, trying to get a decap. Blue team finally able to take that henge point. We're probably going to be seeing a big push from both teams to mid right now.
Yeah, blue team obviously with the advantage here going into mid, as they do have 3 members of their team joining in on this current 2v2 here. So it's going to be a 3v2 situation here. Honey is on the point right now. Obviously, Honey very good at sustaining on the point with this Celestial build, has the Ruin the Pirates there as well. Everest right now in a little bit of heat on top of this node here, is staying in those in that little bit of the mirror shower. It looks like most of the damage is being put on Easy here, who was in SR right now, and we actually saw Unstoppable Rogue jumping all over Easy, and Talik almost gets taken out by Easy, who jumped all over him there, and he's forced to teleport out of there as quickly as he can. And it looks like right now we can actually see Honey gaining control of the node slowly over Unstoppable Ragnar, who is on the point right now with his teammate here, Evris.
Yeah, it's a 4v4 situation emerging at the midpoint. It does look like Ilse is getting kind of low. He's out here. A lot of pressure. Doesn't have any cooldowns left. He's just trying to use all of his initiative to dodge. Is taken into the Vampires. Poison going to tick on him. Able to get out alive. Has his heal up. Is able to stay alive in this onto this point. But red team in the meantime, they did take the midpoint, so they're holding on to the 2 cap right now. Blue team looks like they're kind of piecing out of mid right now, making a push for the sides as we see Talik going over to +1 the fight on the mine point.
Yeah, and looking at this mine point, actually, we see Sync as well as Talik getting this decap and taking out Carsave here. Sync pretty low right now. The banner comes out, and Carsave is back up, so this 2v2 is going to unfold here with Sync kind of low right now and in a little bit of trouble here. They do put some pressure on top of him as well as Talik. Talik taking a huge amount of heat right now, and it looks like Carsave not looking too hot either as Talik jumps all over him as well. He's forced to kind of peel around here. He's sitting at about 20% health right now, but Talik in a similar state, and it looks like red team turning around. That banner did save it, and they are going to win this fight here.
Yeah, blue team managed to get the decap on the mine point, but good play coming out from the red team. They did just get the full cap onto the mine point. Have both warriors over there. There's a little bit of a skirmish going on between the henge and midpoint. Looks like they're able to take down Big Bada Boom. Doesn't go to the downstate, going in for the res. It looks like there's not enough cleave coming out from Kava and Ilse there, so they are going to get him back up. Doesn't look like there's going to be a huge push. Actually, Honey able to get the decap on the point. Great plays coming out from this red team right now.
Yeah, red team's doing a fantastic job right here. They do have the 2 cap over the blue team. They do have that 50-point lead that is currently increasing. Everest right now getting the cap onto the hinge node as both as multiple members, 2 members from each team right now are moving into the mid fight, where red team has all of the control in the world here. We actually see EC taking a little bit of pressure, but was able to pull out as red team is getting the full cap on the node, just getting the last couple of ticks there. Talik right now in some pressure, does get away for the time being, but he's not looking too healthy right now. He's going to look to try to put some pressure onto Kava, who's in some trouble right now. Kava at 20% HP, not too many defensive cooldowns left for Kava. Kava, oh, the vampirism come out, but he goes into downstate. Blue team putting some pressure down on him right now, and Kava is going to be cleaved out of the fight. Red team's going to have to group up and get something going for themselves, or they're going to be in some trouble on this keep node.
LC able to get the decap on the henge point in the midst of that fight, just bailed out of there, knew no one was watching it, so even if they managed to lose that midpoint, that's not a huge loss. They got the decap with the blue team at mid, but there was a decap, like I said, on the henge, so red team still only taking or points, excuse me, at the mine point. Sync and Aldemiri in a 1v1. Knight Jr. going to +1 that fight. Looks like red team, they got the full cap on the hinge. They're probably going to go for the side point play right now.
Yeah, I bet red team's feeling pretty comfortable right now. We actually see on this hinge node right here, Easy is in a 1v1 with Big Bada Boom, the NG from the blue team, as Talek comes in and puts some pressure onto the SR, where Izzy is actually really pressured right now. He does have the heal, so he's going to be fine for the time being. But if we look back at the node, we actually see Honey trying to put some AoE cleave down onto the node, but there's just too many members of blue team here. There's just too much pressure. You know, you have that celestial cleave that's going to be coming out, so red team forced to pull out of this fight right now. Kava is going to try to put his boots on and try to get away from that as fast as he possibly can. If we look at the mid fight, though, we actually see red team once again gaining control of that node here. We're going to see red team kind of skirmishing with blue team in that little archway there and try to prevent them from getting close to that cap so that they can really gain control of that node.
Why don't we see a full cap coming out from Aldemiri there at the midpoint. Red team just trying to hold them off, gain some more lead. There was a decap that did go on at the mine point. Looks like we did see Sync able to get him, you know, knock him back off the point. Is probably going to end up losing that fight, forced out of there. Meanwhile, at the midpoint, the blue team finally managing to get onto the point, but they don't have enough resources here at the time. Looks like they might peel off the mine, knowing there's a decap. In this certain scenario right now, it's in the Blues team's best interest to push to the mine when that point's decapped. That way they don't have to fight on a fully capped midpoint. But they gave up that opportunity now, and they know they need to play both of these points. It's exactly what they're doing right now.
Yeah, we see two members of the blue team here moving into Knight Jr. here, who is the only member of red team currently at the mine node. It looks like we're actually going to see Kava trying to move over to support, but it might not even be in time. I mean, Knight Jr. is sitting here at 20% HP, trying to get onto the point, diving around here, very low with Condies on him right now. EC in kind of like the in-between spot between mid and mine, also not in a good state right here. So red team kind of hurting right now. If blue team can capitalize on this, they're going to be very strong going into potentially a comeback here. But if we look right now at this skirmish that's happening, we actually see Talek being chased around here by Easy. Easy trying to put the damage down on Talek here, and does so. And it looks like Knight Jr. might be able to get the pressure down as well. And Talek's going to be in some trouble here. Gets off the heal, but poison, so it's not. Ooh, we actually see Knight Jr. under some pressure too. This could completely turn into a rally war if it turns out, but it looks like Knight Jr. being brought into the down state here. Talek very low, but there's just nobody else around really to kind of take advantage of that, and Talek actually does get off the heel, so Knight Jr. going to get cleaved out. Red team needs to get something going here because they need to hold on to this lead. They have that 100-point lead right now, but it's a 1-to-1 cap, and it looks like actually you know, they're losing some players
here. I mean,
here.
at this point in the time, looking at where Kava is right now, he had like a 10-20 step lead on the other engineer for this blue team. He could have made a push for the henge point, gotten the decap, full cap there, possibly, if they hadn't followed. We are going to see Isley, he is going to be making a push for that, so he's going to get the decap there. I mean, we would have seen a 2-cap coming out here from the blue team, the first one of this game, but the Thief of the red team, he's been all over decaps for most of this game here, so a huge fight once again emerging as we have 2 crates drop down onto the mine point.
Yeah, Easy obviously not known for being a Thief main, but doing a great job today getting those decaps and really taking advantage of what the Thief can provide and the role that it kind of caters to. So great job from Easy there getting those decaps for the red team. And we actually see Kava on the mine node right now getting bannered from downstate there by Knight Jr. I believe it also, I think it might have been it was actually Carsave there getting the banner there, so great job raising the teammate up. So red team right now with 2 shout bows on this mine node here, so a ton of support to be passed around here as they turn some pressure onto Evris. Evris, the warrior from Evris Pirates, the namesake actually of the team there, getting completely trained out right now. He gets dropped into downstate, and it looks like red team is going to go for the stomp here. Carsave going to go for it, and he does indeed land that stomp. So red team moving back over to the mine here with a kill already, so they're going to potentially have control of this.
Take a look at what's going on now. We got both thieves once again getting decaps for their team. This is like at least the 3rd or 4th decap we have from the red team's team. Blue team able to get Talek over to that henge point onto that. Make sure they get the cap there. They really need it. They need to be making a big push mid right now. Take a look at where red is. They've got 4 of their members making a huge push into the midpoint. We do see Sync going to the downstate. Unstoppable trying to get the res. Not able to, blows a lot of cooldowns, loses a lot of health trying to get that res. That's going to be a tough situation for him to stick into. But red team, only 150 points away from getting a win right now. All they need to do is continue what they've been doing all game long.
Yeah,
holding the 2-cap for the most part, and just keep getting decaps.
Yeah, that push right there was all about momentum there, coming in with the 4v2, putting the pressure down on Sync and taking him out. However, if we look right now, Italic almost actually managed to sneak in a decap. He was only 2 ticks away when he poured it onto it, so Red really had to get all over that. It looks like Evris trying to put some pressure down on Easy there. It looks like Easy is the main target in this fight, but Talik right now being completely trained out by members of the red team. He's in stealth at about 10% HP, and it looks like they're going to take him out. Talik in downstate here. Evris going to try to go for the res, and it looks like he might actually be successful if they can get some more out, but it looks like Honey now with the meteor shower drop and the pressure being put down from the 2 warriors from the red team there is just too much. So 2 members of the blue team here taken out while this 2-cap is happening here, so it looks like red team looking pretty solid.
We saw a decap coming up from Kava onto the hench point. He pulled 2 members of his blue team back to it to waste about 20 to 30 seconds of their time. So good play coming out from Kava. The biggest point about this blue team not being in the lead right now, or even being remotely close, is the decaps that have came out from this red team. They've been all over communication-wise, able to get the Thief to where he needs to be. All around the map, we've seen decaps come out from this Thief, and a couple of their engineers, even Honey, able to get a couple of them, hold off some great 1v1s and 1v2s for the most part. So Salt doing an excellent job of doing what they need to do this game.
Yeah, I have to agree here. So we see 457 to 282 right now. Salt looking fairly good right here. And, this is a team that we expect to be in the Final Four. One of the teams that has been pretty good as of late, kind of came onto the scene and really did pretty well in the ESL. So this is something we kind of expect. I mean, this is a very strong team here, and we can see the implications of that as they are more than likely going into Game 2 with 1-0 over this Evris Pirates team, who actually has been doing pretty good so far today. Definitely one of those teams that maybe people don't know too much about. Obviously, not been on the scene too much. They have done ESLs, I'm pretty sure, and
they're a pretty dominant force in AG Cups. They've won at least one over the past couple of weeks, and they've been placing pretty highly in the AG Cups. ESL, I don't think they've placed too well or even done them for the most part. They're pretty lesser known team, but they put up a great fight up against Sol right now.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to see a team like this in the top 8. I mean, they're putting some hurt onto your Goose's Cooked here, Salt, and it looks like, with a 500 to 300 score, I mean, that's not too far off. They can definitely turn that back around on this legacy map. I mean, what do you think they would have to adapt? What do you think changes they would have to make in order to answer some of the weapons that are on your Goose's Cooked? I mean, it's all about the weapons on this team here. We have Honey, the Staff Ellie, obviously a really strong weapon on a legacy map there, and then we have the 2 Shout Warriors with the support. I mean, this is a very robust team. How do you expect that they're going to be able to crack this?
There are 2 things that caught my eye right at the beginning of that game. First off, Honey did an excellent job of holding off the 1v2 at the start of this game. If this blue team wants to win, they need to be able to take out Honey in 2v1 situations within 10 to 15, 20 seconds. I mean, that's easier said than done, but at the start of the game, it allowed red team to get a decent lead, about 40 to 50 points. They could have avoided that if they got the kill onto Honey and gotten, kept with them for the beginning part of that game. And second, I think there's so many decaps coming out from Ilse, the Thief, onto the red team. He did an excellent job of going all the way around the back of Keep, through the beach, all over the map, getting decaps one after another. So they really need to keep a close eye on him if they want to be able to win on Legacy.
Yeah, once again, Easy not known for the Thief play there, obviously not his main, but doing a great job, as I said earlier, of getting those decaps and, like you say, really taking it to this blue team here and doing a great job of it. So why don't we go ahead and get back into the game here. We have it loaded up with Legacy of the Faux Fire here, and we talked about it a bit. Blue team is in contention here. They can turn this around, as you said, and there is hope for them yet here. Once again, this is a best of 3 match, so potentially this could be we could actually see your Goose's Cooked taking this 2-0 in this map, or potentially see it go into a Game 3, which I believe is on Kylo.
Yeah, take a look at the future. If we do see Salt win this,
it's on Temple.
There's a good chance we'll see them go up against rank 55 Dragons if they're able to beat back to spawn. That's going to be, it might be a pretty decent match. I think rank 55 Dragons is definitely the has the upper hand in that, having a lot more experience in the competitive scene for sure. I think out of these 2 teams that we see right now, I think your Goose's Cooked has the better chance to get there and take on rank 55, but we'll have to see what the blue team is able to do this game, as they had a few sparks of hope in the last one. Just really needed to capitalize on getting some 2 caps, which you didn't have a whole lot of, but still able to put up 300 points in that matchup.
Yeah, and they do have, like we said, an opportunity to turn this around here. And it looks like we're just waiting on a couple of members of both teams to ready up. We have all members of the red team ready to go. Looks like blue team is getting ready to go as well. So we're just moments away from Game 2 of the first matchup of the top 8 here. I do want to point out that we do have another match running right now, and we actually have Jebro and Brunners in that match that will be able to kind of hook up with them later and be able to bring that in and talk about that and have some analysis for you as well. So all of the matches that are going to be in the top 8, you guys will be able to see, whether it be on the stream or on YouTube, but we will talk about them. We will go over them.
I do want to point something out, though.
Right.
About this team that we got on blue. I mean, one of the guys did change builds.
Right.
We had one of the engineers, he swapped to Xiaopo. So now we're going to have 2 Xiaopos on both teams here. We got Anti, he's going to be playing Xiaopo 10463 with the standard Warhorn longbow here. So interested to see how this is going to change it up. I really don't think the double engineer was their best move in the last game. But taking a look at double Xiaopo versus double Xiaopo, I think that's going to help them out here.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, that'll definitely help them out a little bit against the robustness that is this Salt lineup. But why don't we go ahead and look at the splits here, Joe? What's going on?
Yeah, we got 1 warrior for each team going ahead and capping the home node. It looks like we're going to see some stealth play coming out for Your Goose is Cooked. Looks like Ilse is going to be making a push for the midpoint. The same exact split they did last game. They pushed 2 people to the far point with the Thief coming out in stealth to the midpoint. Actually, the Thief, Ilse is going to be getting on the other Thief here. Talik under a lot of pressure, able to get some stealth off, but this is going to be a nice 1v1. We got fights going on all over the map. We're not going to see a cap anytime soon.
Yeah, it's definitely turning into a little bit of some skirmish play. Both Thieves are in like a little bit of a dance-off 1v1 here. We actually see the 2v1 happening from both teams on their home nodes as Honey and Evris here are 1v1ing on the midpoint. We actually see right now it looks like both Thieves. I mean, this is just turning out to be a skirmish, but we finally see someone taking a point here. Quarry does go in favor of the blue team here. Bada Boom not doing so hot versus this 2v1, and it looks like blue team just moments away. We actually see Talik and Downstate from that 1v1 happen on midpoint here, so we actually are going to see him potentially cleaved out. It looks like Everest going for the res, but Easy could almost be dropped here. The burning is going on him right now, and he barely gets off the heel in time here. Talik right now still in the downstate here, and he goes, and he's going to be completely cleaved out, so that's red team once again with the first kill.
That's a really big pickup for red. Now they have the upper hand at the midpoint. Still 1v1 going on at the core. We are going to see Anti-Badaboom going to be making a push for the waterfall. Let's see if he gets the decap. He's got the other warrior able to, hot in pursuit here. That'd be a big decap. Going to get the decap on the waterfall. That's going to be a good pickup for this blue team if they want to start out strong in this game, especially with losing Talik at the midpoint.
Yeah, and blue team, however, since they lost Talik, I mean, obviously that's a big hit for them in this opener of the match, but they did manage to get the far point, that quarry node there from that 2v1, that aggressive far point strat that they wound up doing there. So they are still doing well in points here, and this is where they kind of want to be. This is a comfortable spot to be in right now. It looks like Bada Boom right now taking a lot of heat here versus EC, as well as it looks like the other member of red team is Karseb there, that warrior Aldemiri, and it looks like we can actually see Bada Boom kind of taking a little bit of heat. He doesn't look like he's very healthy in the If we look also at the Henge node, we can also see, or sorry, not the Henge node, the Quarry node here. We actually see another member of the blue team in some heat, and that one is Unstoppable Ringar, where he's just being completely trained out by the red team here, and the red team just all over him here. So, like, what we can basically get from this is that red team, with that kill on Talik, they're trying to turn things back around. They want to make sure that they can get this. But if we look right now, Waterfall just got capped by the blue team. So once again, blue team with a 1-cap advantage over Your Goose is Cooked here. Blue team looking pretty comfortable right now.
Yeah, really so. Able to win the waterfall, and they're looking really strong at the quarry. They need to keep the pressure on Kava as we see Unstoppable Rengar really keeping it up on him. Doesn't have a whole lot. He's going to force Kava out of this point. Blue team are going to be, I mean, we see a cap coming out from the red team here. But blue team able to take the cap on the quarry as well. It didn't register on the screen there. So blue team with the 2-cap right now going to be building up towards a 100-point lead. That would be huge to start out in the second game. Wanting to push it to a game number 3, knowing this is the only way.
Yeah, it looks like blue team with this 2-cap that they have right now, if Everest can really take this mid-fight and keep it in contention here. Honey on the point right now. Everest just kind of trying to get around and get into that cap, and it looks like, ooh, red team did manage to get the cap. Ooh, it's actually not capped. They did not get the cap. However, it does look on the screen like it is 100% here. and we actually see all it basically will take is one more second on the graveyard node with no members of blue team on there, and they will get that cap. But we actually see red team getting that quarry node, so it's a 1-to-1. Finally here, your Goose is Cooked is getting the first cap, and they do get the graveyard there, so they have a 2 cap here. They are doing pretty good as Unstoppable did get finished off right now, and we actually saw Evris going to downstate just a moment ago, and he actually did get picked up, so he's going to be okay. However, look at the health bars right now.
This could be a turning point for the red team to get back into this. Obviously, they have the 2 cap right now. Talik in a 1v1 against Aldemiri over at the waterfall. Going to get reinforcements from Anti. That's going to help him out, but we are going to see reinforcements coming out from the Thief EC onto the waterfall as well, so good 2v2 coming out there. Meanwhile, on the core, I do want to point out Knight Jr. and Sync in the 1v1. If Sync can get that decap, it's really going to help them. They still have the slight lead right now. Red team really coming back into this game about 5 minutes into it.
Yeah, so they're definitely coming back. They have a lot of momentum here. They're going to be going into this mid-fight with some good momentum. However, just as I say that, Kava potentially going to be going down here, and he does get taken out. Talik on top of him right now. He's going to put down the cleave as other members of the blue team here go for it as well. The SR gets dropped on top of Kava here. It looks like they're trying to go for the res, and they might pull it off, and they do actually pull it off. So Kava back in the fight here, able to turn the pressure now on Talik. Talik at about 30% health tries to come back in, and if they could put some connies on him, he's going to be in some trouble. And we actually see Kava now looking at the NG. They need to turn around and look at that Thief. That Thief is in so much pressure, and they take him down. Talik in downstate here. It looks like blue team rallying around him, trying to get the res off, and it looks like they might pull it off, and they do get it off just before Honey is able to get the stomp. And it looks like now, because of that EC drops into downstate, Honey probably not able to get that res, and it looks like blue team with a huge turnaround comeback in that fight there.
That's pretty awesome for this blue team, as we did have Sync holding off a 1v2 on the quarry node. Had Knight Jr. on the ropes there, was about to take him out. He got plussed by Kava, able to help him out in that scenario. Sync, like I said, holding off the 1v2, letting his team get that stomp onto EC there. That's really going to help him out. We do have Talik just kind of sitting around waterfall, not exactly sure about that move. He needs to make the push for the mid. They need another cap here, otherwise this lead that's starting to build for red, as they do hit the even mark with them at about 180, is going to start to build for this red team, and blue team can't afford it at this point in time.
Yeah, it looks like red team looking at Talik right now. It's a 3v2 on this mid node here. We actually see Carsave, Aldemiri on your screen here, being locked into the the ring there, and it looks like he's going to be getting some pressure. He's got the blue team's train all over him right now. Talik is on him right now, putting down the damage, just as Bada Boom is also putting on Lakandi. So Aldemiri taken into downstate here. It looks like Talik going to go for the stomp here. I definitely think they should probably just bleed this one out, but looks like he's going to go for the stomp, and it looks like blue team trying to make a turnaround here as
they keep getting the kills. They got the hardest point in the game, graveyard. They got that cap, but they lost Waterfall in the process. So now about a 40-point lead for Salt. This isn't looking too good for them right now. They've been able to take out a member or two of this blue team's able to take out a member of this or two of the Salt team, but they haven't really capitalized on it. They've only held a 1 cap for the past minute or so, and because of that, their lead that they have at the start of this game is, it's diminished now.
Yeah, if we look over at this quarry node here, we have a 2v2 developing. Actually, Sync was very, very low before, and because of that, he's actually low right now. He's going to try to pop off the healing turret, so he's going to be at about 60% health, but he's getting pulled around by Kava right now, Knight Jr. on top of him as well, and it's this 2v2. I mean, this is one of those things where both teams have a pretty robust comp. I mean, it's pretty tanky. We have Celestial and 4 of the 5 setups here, except for blue team actually does have only 3. So, I mean, either way, there's a ton of support from both sides. There's a ton of robustness. I mean, the amount of
Blue just needs to capitalize on it.
They really
take a look at what we got at Waterfall. We've got Anti and Talik in a 1v2. Talik is bailing this fight. This is not something he should be doing. At the core, we had Sync in a 1v2 situation that gave them the numbers at the waterfall for them to cap that node. For some reason, Talik actually left that. Meanwhile, at the midpoint, though, Unstoppable did go into the downstate. Good Fear Me coming out there. Banner comes out, not able to fully res Unstoppable. They are going to try and manually res him, but so much cleave coming out from Salt is going to look like a bad scenario for this blue team.
Yeah, and that's that Selly cleave at play there. You get the poison down, you put the Connie pressure down as well, and you just start lacing the damage, and that's how you get other members of the team down there. And we actually see Talik taking the brunt of it. Talik in downstate here on the node. It looks like Evris trying to get some support, but he's in a 3v1 here. Talik is in downstate. He's just going to try to get some cleave off from the downstate, but he gets taken out, and Evris now left to bleed. I'm not really sure Red team.
A little bit
Red
of
team,
miscommunication.
yeah,
there.
definitely
I
some
think that was
miscommunication. They definitely
So
should have gotten that stomp off. And
yeah, no one from the blue team actually going into that point at this time, so that will definitely be a decap at least.
yeah, it
And
looks
we're
like
probably going to see a 2-cap, if not a 3-cap, coming out from Red in the near future as they're forcing blue team out of the waterfall as well. Coming off respawn, they're trying to make a push for it. They're going to be able to get on it in time, but no one for the blue team even around mid right now. So we're going to see a 2-cap definitely come out from Salt, and it's really looking like their game to take.
yeah, it looks like Sync is kind of hovering around the quarry node here, trying to get into potentially a 1v1. And once again, with that Engie, he does typically 9 times out of 10 have the advantage over that Shout Warrior with the CC because that Warrior lacks the stability. And, they can push him off point and gain control of the node over time. Has enough Condi pressure to really kind of keep the Warrior off of him. So he's going to be looking pretty solid unless someone can come over and +1 that fight. And it looks like Kava did heed the call, and he's going to come over and try to help out his teammate there on that quarry node. However, if we look now at the graveyard, we actually see a 2v3, or actually a 3v3 happening right here as EC jumps all over Talik. Talik trying to get some pressure on Honey here, and it looks like both Thieves taking a little bit of pressure right now. Talik in 50%, EC at 50%. EC actually almost taken out in the Shadow Refuge. EC at 10% right now. Just going to try to stealth away and get away from all that pressure, get some heals off maybe, and looks like he's going to be fine for the time being. However, if we take a look at Talik right now, Talik's going to be strolling into this fight, probably going to try to melee in, and it looks like EC is all over Talik. Talik forced to port away right now, and if anyone can follow up on this, that's definitely going to secure a kill, as he doesn't have really any cooldowns on him right now at all.
Yeah, really. So taking a look at the score, 425 for this red team with the 2-cap, and it doesn't look like they're giving it up anytime soon. EC is pretty low at the quarry, though. I mean, Knight Jr. in a 1v1 with Sync. Knight Jr. did look like he was going to lose it earlier, but EC going to be +1ing this, and Sync forced off this point here. So we're probably going to be seeing Salt take this game number 2 and move into the semifinals at this stage. 300 points, a better performance coming out for Blue point-wise. And they had a great start, but they really weren't able to capitalize on getting kills onto Salt, and really weren't able to, take the lead that they had at the beginning of this game, which was about 75 points and a 2-cap, and move forward with it.
Yeah, definitely so. So as we look here, we're going to see Red Team more than likely taking Game 2 over this Blue Team. Once again, Blue Team about that 300 mark. That's definitely still, like we say, in contention. Red Team did a fairly good job of keeping control, holding the momentum throughout the latter half of the game, but Blue Team definitely had the advantage in the beginning. They need to figure out ways to really hold on to that, really capitalize on some of those opportunities that they created. And, next time they come out, they definitely need to do something about that. So we see Red Team, congratulations, winning the first top 8 match here, Tournament of Legends 3, the Europe. And it looks like 500 to 328 is the final score there. So congratulations once again to Salt, taking it 2-0 over Evris Pirates on Legacy of the Foe Fire. What do you have to say? Any final remarks on this matchup?
A great performance from both teams. I mean, Evris Pirates, an AG team that has really performed well in the last weeks. They haven't done a whole lot of ESLs, if I'm not mistaken, or any at all for that matter. So they really haven't, I don't think, played this level of competition. And getting 300 plus on a team like Salt, one of the best teams in Europe right now, that's quite, that's something to be proud of. You shouldn't be ashamed, of that, especially with that opening they had on Legacy. Now on Forest, it did feel like they had that dominant stance, but on the start of the game on Legacy of the Foe Fire, Evris Pirates, they really had a dominant force, and I felt they could have taken away, maybe a few adjustments, rotations-wise, numbers-wise, overall. They could have taken away and possibly taken that game. Great performance from them. Obviously, Salt able to take that game number 2 and move on into the semifinals. Definitely earned from them. We'll have to see who they're going to take on in their next matchup.